Hi, this is Chris Bacon from Revenge Performance once again. Today we are going to do an unboxing video on a OBX limited slip front differential. This particular unit is for the 3000GT VR4 or the Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. It fits both of those all-wheel drive platforms. This particular unit has been modified by SCE. Through our partnership with SCE, we are able to distribute a lot of their great parts that they make for our platform, including their Torsen center differentials, their billet shift forks, a lot of other items they have out there are great, some of their big brake kits, including this OBX differential. Now, the thing about this OBX differential is there are some lower price versions of it out there that haven't had quite as much detailing work done to them as the SCE edition. What SCE does is basically goes in and dechamfers them, removes some of the rougher materials, replaces some of the washers and springs and things like that to a higher spec, and overall inspects and cleans the unit. And so you're going to have a lot less debris in your transmission when it first starts, and you're also going to find that you'll have an easier time getting the axle in and some simple things like that. Some of the OEM original OBX units don't have as much chamfer on the internal gears, and so you can actually get an axle into them and have a hard time getting it back out. So it's great to just go ahead and get the SCE version that's been looked over, and you'll be knowing you're getting some good stuff. So let's go ahead and open this up. While I'm opening this up, I'm going to talk a little bit about why you might want a front limited slip differential. The 3000GT VR4 and the Dodge Stealth RT Turbo is obviously an all-wheel drive platform, and so you have a lot of grip basically. The rear on the cars is actually from the factory a limited slip Discus Coupling differential. The center is also a limited slip Discus Coupling differential. And so while in this day and age it's getting to be a little bit kind of older tech, you do have a lot of raw mechanical grip, especially start putting some sticky tires on the cars and some suspension upgrades. But the front is open differential, which was probably done for fuel economy and comfort and maybe very low speed driving type of scenarios. You may have just a little bit more consumer friendly type of behavior and things like that. But what you can do is you can actually really upgrade the car's handling by putting a front limited slip differential in it, replacing the stock front differential completely, and this will assure that both of your front drive wheels will be getting traction. If you don't have this, you can actually cause the car to spin one of the front tires quite a bit, especially on a really hard drag launch, or if you're doing like autocross. I know we sound like we're a little drag oriented here, but a lot of modifications we sell and we kind of recommend also help a lot with autocross and other types of racing. At really low speed, you may find that one of the front wheels, especially the inside front wheel, is going to want to spin a lot. And so by upgrading to a limited slip, you kind of counter that tendency. Also, one of the other things that's probably not talked about a lot is anytime your front end is spinning, the VCU in the car is working really hard to balance some of the grip out. And so basically what you end up doing is you're putting more load on the rear parts of the car. Particularly, you're sending more power through the transfer case. And so we feel like by getting a little more grip out of the front end, you're avoiding a little bit of stress on your transfer case unit. And none of the transfer cases in our platform are particularly bulletproof. There's definitely a lot of things you can do to help, like our REM treatment, our WPC treatment, getting your backlash and your rebuild just set up perfectly. All those things go a really long way, but this is just one more step, taking some stress off your transfer case. This will also, obviously the car is going to pull a little straighter on hard drag launch. A lot of people might find the car will walk around a little bit when you do a really hard drag launch, and this will just help pull the car a little bit straighter since your traction in the front is a little more equalized. Let's go ahead and get this out of the box. In here, you'll just find that this is encased in foam. You see this is encased in plastic. It's hard to get out of here. So this unit here is what's known as a Torsen differential. And so this is very popular with a lot of platforms and things like that. We're definitely not the only platform that runs this type of differential. They have just adapted this sort of technology to us. And one good thing about the Torsen is there's really no parts to wear out in them. A clutch type differential has clutches to wear out, and so over time they'll lose effectiveness to the point where you basically have an open differential. The other type of differential that's very popular is a viscous coupling unit, as we have in our rear end and in our center differentials. Those can wear out because the silicone fluid inside them between the clutch plates can actually get sheared enough that it starts to lose effectiveness, and they can also overheat to the point where they actually leak out all their fluid. We see quite a few transmissions here with bad VCUs, and they're all full of this black fluid that really gets everywhere. So this is a unit that basically is going to last the life of the car. You don't really need to worry about breaking this, and it's a pretty easy installation. Anybody that is used to setting up any kind of bearing preloads on their transmissions would be able to install this. You're going to basically remove your ring gear, which is basically this big crown gear on the stock differential that's held in by all these bolts. Transfer those over and Loctite and bolt those back together. And then you're going to want to install new differential bearings. And so when you buy this, if you buy this from our website, please go ahead and pick up a passenger and driver side differential bearing because they're very difficult to get off without damaging them. In fact, I would pretty much qualify it as impossible to get them off without damaging their inner races and things like that in the cage. And so just go ahead and replace those. The other reason we recommend that is you're putting this unit in, you're going to probably need to adjust your shims a little bit. No matter what aftermarket differential you install in your transmission, the dimensions horizontally here are not going to be exactly the same as your OEM unit. I mean, even Mitsubishi D-Trag could not hold one unit to the next exactly the same, and so that's why they have the shims. And so a lot of times we find that these are a little tight when you install them with the stock supplied shims that came with your transmission. And so if we were going to start anywhere, we would remove about 0.1 to 1.5 millimeters of shim and kind of go from there. Once you turn this in there, if you're not comfortable in the solder method, you can do it by feel. But basically, it should rotate with some drag if you grab the gear and roll it inside the transmission, but not be completely locked up. And it should also not, you shouldn't be able to just spin it and it freewheels. If you let go of it while you're spinning it, it should stop immediately. And so once you get in that kind of ballpark, that's about where it is. We do have a video on our YouTube channel about setting the end play on an input shaft bearing on the end case on a 3000 GT transmission. If you check that out, it'll give you a really good idea of what you need to do if you want to do the solder method on this. It's definitely a good idea. One thing I would note though is don't take the solder method as gospel, because if you do it just a little incorrectly, you may end up putting too many shims in. That seems to be happening more often than not enough. And so just verify by hand that you can't turn the differential. If it's too tight, you're going to see a lot of bearing wear. And if you look on our technical blog, we actually have a picture of a bearing that was severely overloaded from someone swapping a spool in a transfer case and not setting the preload. Other than that, this unit probably requires a little bit of break-in. Like we said, this has been treated by SCE to some of their cleanup, and some of them making sure that there's no burrs and things like that on any of the little gears inside this Torsen assembly. But after you run a couple hundred miles, you should probably change your transmission fluid just to get anything out of there that might be inside it from wearing in. That's really about all there is to say about this limited slip differential. I guess one more thing we can mention is this does include a speedometer gear. So particularly if you have a 97 and up 3000 GT VR4, your factory gear may be plastic. And so we've actually heard reports of that coming loose and slipping, and what'll happen is you'll lose your speedometer, which is not a lot of fun. Cruise control won't work either, which is also not a lot of fun. So this has an integrated metal speedometer gear. You don't need to worry about trying to press that off, even if you got the metal one. And so it's really a very easy installation. We do offer this on our website, so please check it out at rbenchperformance.com.